So one of the most frequently asked questions that I get is what's the difference between OLED and RGB backlighting? Now, these are two very different display technologies, and RGB backlighting is still super new and just starting to emerge. When I visited LG's headquarters, their team walked me through a side-by-side demo comparing an OLED panel next to an RGB backlight TV from another brand. And what's really interesting here is that this wasn't just meant to be a full category comparison, but more so a look at how this newer RGB technology stacks up today, especially in a controlled environment. So in today's video, I'm going to show you my full conversation with their product marketing lead and what really stood out from that demo. So without any further ado, let's dive into that conversation.
All right, so I've got Scott with me right now who's in product marketing at LG, and he's gonna go over the difference between RGB and OLED, right?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So carry away.
Yeah, so there's a lot of exciting news about MRGB LED TVs, which is where we've changed out the backlighting of the LCD panel from white LED or standard white LEDs to actually have RGB or red, green, and blue LEDs.
Okay.
When they're on full firing, it will create the most pure white light. However, what's really exciting is the ability to use the different color palette at the lighting to color picture. So if we step over this way, we see this TV here showing what we're sending it. This here is showing what the backlight system is doing.
Oh, so the backlight of this TV.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
So these two TVs are identical.
Yeah.
We have the screen off so you can see the backlighting. So what you can see here is that the backlighting is red here. The color filters are pushing red. So this allows these reds to be very vibrant, pushing into the BT 2020 space. This is very exciting as these TVs can be very, very colorful. And what we're demonstrating here is that these are still based on LCD or backlit technology, which is different than OLED. OLED is self-emissive with 8.3 million dimming zones, whereas LCD TVs inherently have had problems with haloing and other issues that are caused by the backlight. So what we're showcasing here is that in testing, you're going to be able to see some very vibrant colors. However, in real world scenarios, you may not see the same. So right now, you can see this is red to match red, but what happens when we put a white cross up in the zone that's showing red lighting, well, now we have to compromise. And if you look over here, these boxes with the white cross all turn to white.
Right.
So the ability to push very deep into BT 2020 is now limited by the compromise that the lighting has to do to create what's up on the screen. And if you kind of just, if Hyunbin could take the cross away, and if I put my hand here, you'll see when the cross comes back, the red will desaturate a little bit. With OLED, it's self-emissive technology. So if Hyunbin removes the white cross again, and I put my hand here, you'll see the red stays the same. This has to do with there is no backlighting system that needs to compromise between red and white.
Gotcha.
These are self-emissive pixels, so we can create the pure colors at all times.
Wow.
Now, we can move on to some other demos that kind of showcase this same thing. Which you'll see here is that the backlighting system, to help these colors be very saturated, has changed to red. But when you have backlighting and pixels, when you don't have an equal number, there's compromises. And what we'll see here is something called color crosstalk, where this ball has somewhat of a pink tint. It is being affected. You can actually see the backlighting system over here that is causing that. It's kind of a color bleed. If you look at the OLED TVs, so this is pure white. Now, I'm gonna have Hyunbin run this, and you're gonna notice this white does not change in intensity or color as it moves through each colored bar.
Yeah, it's pretty stagnant,
Now we're gonna do the same thing over here. And we're gonna watch the colored ball as it slightly changes color and also brightness as it moves from dimming zone to dimming zone, which has to navigate or compromise how bright can I make this versus causing haloing.
Right, because that one almost looks like it's pure white, and this one almost looks like it's kind of grayish.
Right, now if we come over here, if we could run that one more time, we can see the ball moving through the colors and the backlighting trying to keep up with what is going on screen. So here's Pac-Man. If we stop him now, we'll see right here, the board is being colored by the backlight, and the panel is causing some light bleed where Pac-Man is not pure white, as seen on OLED. You'll also notice
Yeah.
Some color crosstalk here, whereas on OLED, it's not affected at all.
Right. So it's almost like the yellow, the blue, the pink, it's kind of blending into those circles. Here, all the circles are pure white.
Right. So each pixel, all 8.3 million, are individually controlled for both color and brightness.
Gotcha.
Whereas these pixels here are relying on backlighting
Okay.
and color filter.
Wow.
And that backlighting causes a compromise.
Gotcha.
But nonetheless, just as haloing has gotten reduced very much over the years by adding more and more and more zones, this too can be reduced by having better processing, like our Alpha 11 Gen 3 processor, or more zones. And then if you were here after, we actually put this TV up against our MRGB.
Yeah, I saw that.
And as you could see, we did not exhibit the same problems, and that has to do with the processor. For LG, our MRGB 95 uses our Alpha 11 Gen 3. That processor, which was originally from our OLED line, manages 8.3 million dimming zones. So managing the thousands of dimming zones behind an RGB TV is something that's on task for it. The point that needs to be taken from this is really a technology demonstration.
Right.
If you, for some reason, can't have an OLED, MRGB is going to be your best bet. This is as close to OLED as you can get. These TVs pack the most zones, can be the brightest, and can push into BT 2020. And where it starts to really become a deal is up in scale. As you go up in OLED, prices start to get very big. So for someone looking at 100-inch, they might be able to get into MRGB if cost prohibitive with OLED.
All right, so that wraps up my conversation with LG on OLED versus RGB backlighting. And honestly, from what we saw in this demo, OLED still has a clear edge when it comes to consistency and that precise pixel level control. But at the same time, RGB backlighting is really interesting technology because it's still early, it's still evolving, but you can definitely see the potential that it has to offer. Now, it will be exciting to see how this space develops over time, especially as the technology matures and more implementations hit the market. I hope you enjoyed this video, as I'll be covering more TVs and home theater tech throughout the year. So if you want to see more content like this, make sure you're subscribed. So thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.